ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਫਰੀਕਨ ਲਵਾਇਨ ਸਫਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਨਵਰਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਉੱਧਰ। ਇੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਤੋਤਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆ ਦੇਖਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਿਨ 'ਚ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਟਾਈਮ ਆ ਉਹ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਬਸ 10-15 ਮਿੰਟ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਹੁਣ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਬੋਟ 'ਤੇ ਆਈਲੈਂਡ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਸੀ। ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਛੋਟਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ, 5-10 ਮਿੰਟ 10 ਮਿੰਟਾਂ ਦਾ। ਅਤੇ ਚਲੋ ਖੈਰ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਧਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ, ਅਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅਤੇ ਇੱਧਰਲੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਆਹ ਜਾਲੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਬਰੀਕ ਜਿਹੀ ਇੱਕ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਹ ਬਾਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਦੋ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ, ਅਤੇ ਬਾਜ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੇਖ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਗਰਦਨ ਹੀ ਘੁਮਾ ਲਈ ਪਤੰਦਰ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੀ, ਅਤੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਗਰਦਨ ਘੁਮਾ ਲਈ ਜਿਵੇਂ। ਦੋ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਪੂਰਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਚੁੰਝ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹਦੀ, ਅੱਖ ਵੀ ਦੇਖੋ ਨਾਲ, ਘੈਂਟ ਆ ਪੂਰਾ। ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਧਰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਕੁਛ ਹੈਗਾ ਗਾ। ਕੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਥੇ? ਇੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਹ ਜਾਨਵਰ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਜ ਵਾਲੀ ਕਿਸਮ 'ਚ ਹੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ। ਇੱਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਝਾਕਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ, ਇਹਦੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਫੋਟੋ ਖਿੱਚਣੀ ਸੀ, ਸੋਹਣਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਝਾਕਿਆ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗਰਦਨ ਜਿਹੀ ਘੁਮਾਈ ਬੈਠਾ, ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਇੱਕ ਡੰਡੇ ਜਿਹੇ 'ਤੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਇਹ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਲੈ ਗਰਦਨ ਘੁਮਾਤੀ ਇਹਨੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਨੂੰ। ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਨਾ, ਆਪਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦੀ ਇੱਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਲਈ। ਕਦੇ ਕਦੇ ਝਾਕਦਾ, ਦੇਖਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਐਡੀ ਕੱਖ ਇਹਦੀ, ਅਤੇ ਚੁੰਝ ਦੇਖੋ ਥੱਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਤਿੱਖੀ ਆ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਪਾੜਦਾ, ਵਿਗੜ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਉਹੀ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡਿੱਕੇ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਕਈ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਦੂਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਈਗਲ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਉਹ ਬੈਠਾ ਪਿਆ, ਸੁੱਤਾ ਪਿਆ ਗਰਮੀ ਦਾ ਮਾਰਾ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਪਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਥਾਂ ਜਿਹਾ ਉਹਦਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਦੀਂਦਾ ਇਹ। ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਾਲਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦਿਖੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜਾਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਦੀ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਜਾਲੀ ਦੀ ਫੋਟੋ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਮਗਰਲੀ ਫੋਟੋ ਧੁੰਦਲੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਘੱਟ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਚਲੋ ਖੈਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅੱਗੇ ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਥਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਵਾਹਵਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਨੂੰ, ਇੱਕ ਇੱਧਰ ਵੀ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੋਊ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ। ਚਲੋ ਆਹ ਸੀਗੇ ਇੱਥੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਹੁਣ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਬੈਠਾ, ਆਹ ਬੈਠਾ ਥੱਲੇ ਕਾਂ ਜੇ ਵਰਗਾ, ਜਮਾ ਕਾਂ ਹੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਆਹ, ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਬੈਠਾ, ਅਤੇ ਐਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਂਡਿਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇਹ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਬੈਠਾ ਇੱਥੇ। ਅਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੋ ਬੈਠਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਬੈਠਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਕਿਸਮ ਆ ਕੋਈ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ। ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਰੰਗ ਦੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਤੋਂ ਅਗਲਾ ਉਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਊ ਹੁਣ। ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਨਾ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ ਕੋਈ, ਆਹ ਜਵਾਕ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਝੁੰਮੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਇਹ ਤੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਭਾਈ ਇਹ ਜਾਲੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਵੀ ਦੰਦੀ ਵੱਢ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਾਨਵਰ। ਅਤੇ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਹੈ ਕਿਹੜਾ? ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਗੋਲਡਨ ਈਗਲ, ਗੋਲਡਨ ਈਗਲ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਹ ਪਾਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਨਕਸ਼ੇ ਨੁਕਸ਼ੇ, ਅਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਰੈਡ ਜਿਹਾ ਵਰਲਡ 'ਚ, ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ। ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਦੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਿੰਜਰਾ ਉਹ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੈਠਾ ਦੂਰ ਸਾਰੀ, ਅਤੇ ਘੈਂਟ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਆ ਇਹ, ਉਹ ਬੈਠਾ ਉੱਪਰ, ਸੋਹਣਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਇਹ ਵੀ। ਐਂ ਕੈਮਰੇ 'ਚ ਘੱਟ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਵੈਸੇ ਇਹ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਦਿਖਦਾ, ਬਹੁਤ ਤੇਜ਼ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਆ ਇਹ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਬੈਠਾ ਪਿੰਜਰੇ ਚੜਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਅਤੇ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਗਈਆਂ ਆਈਆਂ, ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਮਰਨਾ। ਅਤੇ ਗੁਲਾਮ ਪੰਛੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ, ਅਤੇ ਥਾਂ ਚਾਹੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ। ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣਾ ਉੱਧਰੋਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੀ ਨੇੜੇ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੋਤਿਆਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ। ਅਤੇ ਉੱਧਰ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਕੇਰਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੈਕ ਤੋਤਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਵੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਸੀ ਦੂਜੀ ਸਾਈਡ, ਉਹ ਸੀਗੇ ਆਹ ਬਗਲਾ ਇੱਕ, ਬਾਂਗਲਾ ਬੈਠਾ ਇਹ, ਕਿੱਡੀ ਚੁੰਝ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੀ, ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੱਛੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਹੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦੀ ਚੁੰਝ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ਾ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅਤੇ ਖਾਸਾ ਲੰਮਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਆ ਇਹ, ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਧੁੱਪ ਸੇਕਦਾ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕੋਲੇ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ। ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੈ, ਟਾਇਰ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਉੱਧਰ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਾਰਾ, ਇਹਦੇ ਬੈਠਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਇਹਦਾ ਮਨਪਸੰਦੀਦਾ ਥਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਉਹ ਲੁਕਣ ਨੂੰ। ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਧਰ ਹੋਰ ਦੇਖੀਏ, ਆਹ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਨਾਂ ਵਗੈਰਾ, ਕਿੱਥੇ ਇਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ। ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਨਵਰ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਦੋ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ, ਇੱਕ ਕਾਲੇ ਰੰਗ ਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਡੱਬਾ ਖੜੱਬਾ ਜਿਹਾ, ਇੱਕ ਥੱਲੇ ਬੈਠਾ, ਬਾਜ ਹੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਦੋ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ, ਤਿੰਨ। ਆਹ ਹੋਰ ਰੰਗ ਦਾ, ਇਹਦੀ ਚੁੰਝ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਜਮੀ ਕਾਲੇ ਰੰਗ ਦਾ, ਇੱਲ ਜੀ ਆ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ 'ਚ, ਉਵੇਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਅਤੇ ਆਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਆਹ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਰੰਗ ਬਿਰੰਗਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਆ ਇਹ। ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਆ ਉੱਪਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ, ਕਾਫੀ ਨੇ, ਸੋਹਣੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਚਲੋ ਫਿਰ ਅੱਗੇ
ਕਰੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਗਏ, ਕਰੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਚੱਲ ਵੀ ਕਰੋ,
क्या बात है।
ਹਾਂ ਦੇਖ ਲੈ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਗਿਆ।
ਉਹ ਕੁੜੀ ਦੇ ਹੱਥ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਲੰਮੀ ਪੂੰਛ ਵਾਲਾ ਤੋਤਾ ਬੈਠਾ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਿਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਵੈਸੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਮੈਪ ਵੀ ਦਿਖਾਇਆ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ ਇਸ ਜ਼ੂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ।
Over 10,000 species of birds on our planet. So of course, being in Parrot Paradise, you're going to see a whole different kinds of parrots, but we do have some other special guests joining us here today as well. Now, where else is there to start but with the smallest member of our Parrot Paradise group? This here is Howard. He's what we call a curl-crested Araceli. Now, the Aracelis represent the smallest members of the 35 different toucan species in our world. Now, as he stands up there nice and close, you can definitely tell why he's called a curl-crested Araceli. That is, in fact, not a wig on his hand, but modified feathers. Now, scientists don't know exactly why he looks the way he does. A good guess is because he exists with many other toucan species in the marshlands in South America. So, having a very distinct look will make it very easy to find other members of his kind. Now, toucans are what we call frugivores, and that's where that big bill comes in. It's serrated on the top edge so that they can crack through hard nuts of shells to get to the tasty insides of the fruit. Now, that bill is also filled with a whole bunch of blood vessels, which will help control Howard's body temperature, making it easier to cool himself down or warm himself up. But he's done a lovely job opening up our presentation, so let's hear it for Howard out here today.
ਸਾਰੇ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ,
One of the
ਖਾਣਾ
smallest
ਜ਼ਰੂਰ
members of our
ਦੇਖ
show,
ਕੇ ਉਹ
one
ਉਹੀ ਕੁਛ
of
ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ
the
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੁਛ
largest.
Oh, okay.
Next, coming around that corner is Spud. Anyone want to tell me what kind of bird she is? You can shout it out. Yeah, she's a turkey. Now, there are many wild turkeys in Ontario, and that's actually all thanks to a conservation project that took place way back in the 1980s. Before then, there were absolutely no wild turkeys left in Canada. So they released 4,400 different turkeys across different sites within our province. This was a very successful conservation effort indeed. The current estimated population of turkeys in Ontario is 100,000 individuals. Well, thank you so much for teaching us all a little something about conservation. Why don't we give Spud a huge hand as she heads on home today.
ਜਿੱਧਰ ਆਏ ਉੱਧਰ ਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਗਏ।
Now, on that note of conservation, there is a project we would love to talk to you all a little bit more about. It's called the Blue-Throated Macaw Recovery Program, and the next individual we're inviting on out is an ambassador for her species right here at Safari. Her name is Benny.
Oh.
There she is. Now, unfortunately, Benny represents one of the most endangered macaws living in the wild today. There are less than 500 blue throats remaining in the wilds of Bolivia, the only country they can be found in. So to tackle this, we partnered up with the World Parrot Trust way back in 2014 and established a breeding program right here on site at Safari. Now, through this breeding program, Benny and his sister Levi were actually the very first 2 successful hatchings, but since then we've added 8 other chicks to them.
ਤੋਤਾ ਮਨਮੋਤਾ
Now, those 10 chicks could make a large difference
Oh,
in the overall
Kitty.
survival of the species, but there is still much work to be done. So, starting last September, we sent 8 of our bluefoots down to Bolivia to take place in a breeding program within their own native habitat. Now, it's our ultimate hope that eventually those individuals will teach their offspring how to survive in the wild, making sure that they can escape predation and find food by themselves. And we definitely couldn't have accomplished this amazing conservation feat without the support of all of you, of course. So please give yourselves a big round of applause as well. Now that we've had a little bit of a serious talk, it's time to have a little bit of fun. So we're going to bring these 2 up nice and close and talk about some of the key characteristics of the parrot family. So on the left here, we have Benny, our blue-throated macaw, and on this here is Fever, our scarlet macaw. Now, one of the most striking features of these birds you might notice right away are these bold, bright, and beautiful colors. Now, these colors stand out here in our Gulf Safari environment, but in their natural habitats of the rainforests of South and Central America, these colors help them blend in very well. Now, these birds come in a wide variety of colors, ranging and depending on which habitat they reside in. Now, parrots also have what we call zygodactyl toes. Now, what does that big fancy word mean? Well, take a look at Benny here, and maybe Fever as well, as they show off for you. They have 2 toes facing forwards and 2 toes facing backwards. This toe placement allows them to have an excellent grip on those perches, and also allows them to use their feet much like you would use our hands, as they can grab onto food, bring it up to their mouths, and take small bites out of it. Now, parrots exhibit left and right handedness, much like us humans, with Levi or Benny here being our lefty and Fever being our righty. Now, in the parrot world, being a lefty is much more common. Now, as they snack on these treats, you can see them using their bill to eat, but not only do they use this beak to eat, they use it much like a 3rd foot. This makes them rather acrobatic by nature. This beak exhibits up to 700 pounds of force to support their entire body weight. Now, using their beak and their feet are some of the ways they navigate their habitats, but as birds, they also have the ability to fly. Now, using those wings there, they can reach speeds of up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. That's about as fast as we're driving through our towns and our cities. Now, going that fast, they have to have a way to slow themselves down and steer, and that's where those big, long tail feathers come in. If the parrot's looking to put on the brakes to slow down, they can fan those tail feathers out, and that will allow them to make a nice and soft landing. At least you have certainly done a great job showcasing their physical features here today, so let's show some love as they head on back to their perches. Hello? There we go. So parrots certainly have a lot of cool physical characteristics, but they're also known for being quite intelligent as well. So with that, I would love to introduce to you Reggie, our Timney parrot. Now, the Timney parrot is one of the most intelligent bird species, and I'm sure that Reggie here would agree with us. Big nod, he certainly does. So while Reggie here may be one of the smaller birds that we have here in Parrot Paradise, don't underestimate him, as the Timney parrot is an avid learner throughout their entire life and is known to learn around 1,500 words. Now, Reggie here knows nowhere near 1,500 words, but there is usually one thing he likes to quietly say to everybody. A nice quiet hello from Reggie. Now, unfortunately, this bird's ability to talk and their intelligence makes them a desired pet by many. This has resulted in the illegal capture of these birds from the wild for the global pet trade. Oftentimes, the methods used are inhumane, dangerous, and harsh, resulting in only half of birds surviving the journey. But there are organizations that are working to halt this illegal activity and protect these bird species, and we find all that activity pretty exciting, and we like to think that Reggie does as well. A lot of excitement from a great little bird here. Now, we believe that birds like Reggie here deserve proper care and a safe environment to call home, and we share those
views with those organizations working to help these birds. Now let's see if he has one last thing here to add today. Hi. He's done a lovely job. Let's hear it for him.
ਉਹ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਕੋਲ
Both found all the way on the other side of the world in Australia, Indonesia, and the surrounding islands. You can find members of species known as cockatoos. And that's exactly who our next individual is representing out here today. Her name is Petey. She's what we call an umbrella cockatoo. That's just one of 21 different species in the world. Now, being a cockatoo means she has a very unique sound to her voice, so let's see if she wants to show it off for us today. That voice is very sweet and sugary indeed, very typical in the cockatoo world, but do not let Petey here fool you. A cockatoo's call is definitely one of the loudest sounds in the animal kingdom, reaching up to 135 decibels. To put that into perspective, your average rock concert is 120, so even louder than that. Knowing that, it may come as no surprise, these guys can unfortunately be considered pests where they're from, not only because of the noise, but they're constantly stacking on farmers' crops down there as well, reducing their yields once harvesting season comes around. But they're not trying to be a pest, they're actually just dispersing those seeds in their environment, which helps them take root in new areas and keeps the soil nice and biodiverse. I will say though, I have a favorite fact about the cockatoo. It's what makes them more physically distinct from the cause. They have a crest on top of their head made up of feathers that they can lower and raise at will. Now that crest will be used to express how they're feeling, whether it be angry, excited, or anything in between. Now, Petey already did show hers off a little bit. What do you guys say though? You want to see it again? Yeah. All right, well let's get a big round of applause going. Usually does the trick. No dance today. She wouldn't be a cockatoo if she didn't try to make me look a little bit like a fool, but she's done a lovely job for us all. So let's hear it one more time for Petey. Now, certainly many of the birds that we're showing you in our presentation could be considered exotic to us here in Ontario, but the truth of the matter is it all depends on where you're from in the world, such as from Africa. The entire continent will have these birds widespread across it. They are very, very populous indeed. Now these are our helmeted guinea fowl, Dixie, Trixie, and Pixie. Now you may be looking at them thinking, that is a really weird looking chicken. But you know what? Pretty good observation to make. They're from the same group of birds as chickens and turkeys. So us humans do end up using them for much of the same reasons, whether it be for their eggs or for their meat. Now, guinea fowl are an excellent friend to keep on your farm down in Africa because they love to eat ticks. So they'll eat all the ticks off of your livestock, making sure they stay nice and healthy and free of any tick-borne diseases. Now, my favorite fact about the guinea fowl is their speed. Guinea fowl can run at about 35 kilometers per hour as they're about to show off. And off they go, keeping the mood nice and light out here. Let's hear it for Dixie, Trixie, and Pixie.
Oh, अच्छा.
And he definitely he likes to get a little bit of attention on his way out. So why don't we start a drum roll for him? Clap our hands and stomp our feet.
मोर आ गया मोर उन्हीं आ गए इंडिया वाले आ गए इंडिया वाले आ गए
Parker, and I've heard a few of you say a peacock, and technically you're not wrong as he is a male. But he belongs to a species called an Indian peacock. The males are called peacocks, the females king hens, and the young are called
नेशनल वो हुआ
Now we know that Parker is a male due to those light blue colors that we can see on his head and his neck. And of course,
आ जाओ इधर तू तो साडे कोठियां तुरया फिरदा रहंदा सी
these gray feathers are their tail feathers.
ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਇਹਨੇ ਤਾਂ
They're modified back to them. These feathers certainly come in handy when it's mating season to help attract the female. Now these feathers grow in when the peacock is about 2 years of age, but they'll fall out every year at the end of the season, and they will regrow each
ਚੱਲ
year
ਵੀ
or bigger and more. The Parker's really done a lovely job, so let's hear it for him. Now moving back on to parrots, let's talk a bit more about their survival in the wild. Now one factor that impacts them is the availability of living. So parrots prefer to nest in the natural cavities of trees, but unfortunately, logging, agriculture, and wildfire have made these cavities a little bit harder to find. Now one way that we can support the wild breeding of parrots is through the use of nesting boxes such as the one cover our scarlet macaws. Our partners in conservation have installed around 100 of these boxes in the wilds of Bolivia to support the breeding of the blue-throated macaw, much like Betty over there. Now we here at Safari have also had our successes in using nesting boxes for breeding. So with that, I'd love to introduce you to a bird who hatched right here on Safari. And this here is FIFA, our 10-year-old green macaw. Now not only did FIFA hatch here, but her mother did as well in the 1990s. Now FIFA's purpose here today in our presentation is to showcase just how beautifully a macaw can fly. Now to you and me, flying may seem like a whole lot of fun, but for birds, it's often a means of survival. It's a way of finding food, finding a mate, escaping predators, finding shelter, and even completing long seasonal migrations. Now luckily for FIFA, macaws are found in Central and South America. They have food and warm temperatures available to them all year round. For this reason, these guys do not have the need to migrate and are better geared towards short flights rather than long flights. We can see that she's pretty eager here today, so Megan is going to be making her way to the top of the stands. We can only fly over the heads of a few of us on the audience. Her target is that back corner, but in order to make it there, she's going to need a little bit of help. So we're going to count down from 3 and then yell take off. You guys think you got it? All right. 3, 2, 1, take off! I don't think we were loud enough. Let's try that one more time, everybody. 3, 2, 1, take off! Now you can watch as she uses her tail to steer that flight. Put on the brakes, and it's another safe landing. Let's hear
ਬੜਾ
it.
ਭੱਜਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਬੱਚਾ ਦਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਦੇਖਦਾ
Showcase many amazing characteristics of our birds here today, whether they be parrots or their other friends. One of the traits that we have yet to fully discuss is their
ਅਕਸਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਨੇ
This is often what parrots are most of.
ਉਹ ਤੋਤੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਾਲੀ
Now,
ਨੇ
contrary to popular belief, it's not the largest species like our macaws with the best population.
ਹਾਂ
Right. Now, a lot of people ask us to make our birds talk, but in reality, we don't want to. What you've seen here today is the result of countless hours of training, and of course, a lot of their favorite food as well. So with that, I'd love to introduce you to Wasabi, our yellow-fronted Amazon, and Eddie, our yellow-crowned Amazon.
Well, these guys usually like to keep it simple to start off with a hello. Cheerful little hello from Eddie. Now Wasabi here, we did introduce him to you all, but he lets us know he likes to do it himself. So, what's your name? Certainly is, buddy. Now these guys have their very own unique personalities just like you and I do, so I'll introduce you to them just a little bit further. Eddie here, one of the nosiest birds I've ever met in my life for sure. She's constantly asking us this next question when we clean up around her. I think she makes an excellent work supervisor though. Now Wasabi here on the other hand, very, very polite, which makes me think he has a question for you all. We're hoping you're having a lovely day on Safari so far. Now these guys are male and females, but you and I actually can't tell that just by looking at them. The males and females for the majority of parrot species will look exactly the same to us humans. So to determine this for sure, we have to take a sample of their blood, send it off to a lab, and get it DNA tested. However, we probably should have had our suspicions because whenever a cute male Amazon walked on by Eddie, she might have chosen to flirt with them a little bit. Cheeky bugger that she is, and if Wasabi was enjoying that attention, maybe he'd even blow a couple of kisses back. Don't know if they're Amazons or if they're lovebirds. Now these guys are also very playful by nature, and I have a feeling you'll recognize their favorite game to play with us keepers. That's right, they love to be tickled. And what do you guys all do when you get tickled? You laugh, that's right. And of course, so do our
ਆ ਤਾਂ
birds.
ਬੈਠੀ ਆ ਉਧਰ ਦੇਖੀ ਉਧਰ
A couple sarcastic chuckles out here today. Now these guys are really good at picking up on human words, but also sound effects. Now Sabi encountered a
Gym
scary,
ਆਇਆ?
scary dog the other day and
ਇਹ
picked
ਕਹਾਂ
up
ਮੈਂ
the
gym
noise it
ਚ
was
ਆਇਆ।
making. I don't know if he's scaring anyone with that bark though, is he? Now these guys are also very musically talented by nature for all of the Amazons out there. These guys definitely no exception to that rule. I will say though, there is a little bit of a catch. They've learned to sing from us keepers here at Safari. And let's just say, we are no Beyoncés. So be a little bit kind to these guys as they struggle through these next couple of tunes. I'm gonna get them to warm up their voice a little just to see if it will help. Can you warm up your voice? All right, sounds nice and in tune to me. Let's see if we can get that first song going. A little bit of our national anthem to start out. Now before our next tune, I have a question to ask you all in the audience. Does it happen to be anyone's birthday on Safari today? You can raise your hand up. Right over in the front, happy birthday to you. That is wonderful news. Seem to be the only birthday today. I don't know, we might want to get a couple more hands up just for encouragement. Any other June birthdays? Couple more. Okay, I see a bunch. I don't know. They don't look convinced to me. So go ahead, raise your hand up nice and high if your birthday's in the next, I don't know, year or so. That should certainly do the trick. Whenever your special day is, this next tune is for you.
ਹੈਪੀ ਬਰਥਡੇ ਟੂ
A couple rough renditions of Happy Birthday. Now with all that talent that these guys clearly have, does come a whole lot of hard work as well. And Wasabi here, very proud of where he works, so much so it's one of his favorite things to say to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask him, where do you work? Yeah, he works right here at African Lions Park. Give it up for these two. Now we here at Safari do like to say that the first steps in conservation are education. So we hope you have lots of fun meeting our birds, but hopefully you learned a thing or two as well. Now, very important reminder, around the corner and down the path in just about 10 minutes is our last Birds of Prey flying demonstration for the day. But we are going to bring some of the birds up to the gate so you can take some pictures, ask us any remaining questions you might have. And it looks like they have one last thing to say.
ਉਹ ਆਉਂਦਾ
A couple goodbyes with a little foot wave to accompany it. Enjoy the rest of your day on Safari. Goodbye now.
ਚਲੋ
ਇਹ ਸੀਗਾ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਾਨਵਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਅਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਸੀ। ਜਾਨਵਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫੂਡ 'ਤੇ ਗਿਝਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ। ਆਹ ਤੋਤੇ ਹੁਣੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੀਗੇ, ਪੂਰੇ ਕਰਤੱਵ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ। ਰਾਮਦੇਵ ਬਣਿਆ ਫਿਰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਾਨਵਰਾਂ ਦਾ। ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਵੀਡੀਓ 'ਚ, ਅਤੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ। ਧੰਨਵਾਦ।